The rain hammered against the windows of my small apartment in Seattle, mirroring the tempest inside me. I, Lysander, a 43-year-old architect, had always prided myself on my meticulous nature, my ability to see the potential in every blueprint, every building. But I hadn't seen the cracks in my own life until they were gaping chasms. It started subtly. My wife, Isolde, a vibrant and successful marketing executive, began working later hours. "Big campaign," she'd say, her smile tight, her eyes avoiding mine. We'd been married for 15 years, a seemingly solid foundation built on mutual respect and affection. We met at a gallery opening, both drawn to a particularly striking piece of abstract art. I was captivated by her passion, her ability to articulate emotions I could only feel. But lately, the passion had dimmed. Our conversations felt stilted, our intimacy mechanical. I chalked it up to the pressures of her job, the stress of modern life. I tried to be supportive, cooking her favorite meals, drawing her a bath after a long day. But she remained distant, a ghost in our shared space. The first real jolt came from an unexpected source, a misplaced receipt. I was tidying up her purse, something I rarely did, when a small slip of paper fluttered out. It was from a restaurant I didn't recognize, an expensive Italian place downtown. The date was last Tuesday, a night Isolde had claimed to be working late. My heart pounded in my chest. I tried to rationalize it. Maybe it was a business dinner. But the nagging feeling persisted, a cold knot in my stomach. I decided to do some digging. I hate that I did it, but I had to know. I started checking our phone bills, scrutinizing her credit card statements. Nothing concrete, just little inconsistencies that amplified my unease. Then came the email. It was a Saturday morning. Isolde was at a yoga retreat with her friends, a weekend getaway she'd been planning for months. I was supposed to be enjoying a quiet day to myself, catching up on some reading. But the quiet was shattered by a notification on our shared iPad. It was an email addressed to Isolde from someone named Cashin. My hands trembled as I clicked it open. The subject line was simple: "Thinking of you." The message was short but devastating. "Last night was incredible. Can't wait to see you again soon." The world tilted. My breath hitched in my throat. Cashin. Who the hell was Cashin? I spent the next few hours in a daze, pacing the apartment, replaying every interaction with Isolde, searching for clues I had missed. The yoga retreat suddenly seemed like a convenient alibi. The late nights at work, the distant demeanor, it all clicked into place with sickening clarity. Driven by a desperate need for answers, I did some more digging. A quick search revealed Cashin to be a colleague of Isolde's, a younger, ambitious account manager at her firm. His LinkedIn profile painted a picture of a smooth-talking, charismatic professional. The rage began to simmer, a slow burn that threatened to consume me. I wanted to confront Isolde immediately, to scream, to demand an explanation. But I knew I needed to be strategic. I needed proof. I decided to play along, to act as if nothing was amiss. When Isolde returned from her retreat, I greeted her with a hug and a kiss, masking the turmoil inside. She seemed relieved, almost guilty. "How was your weekend?" I asked casually. "It was great," she replied, a little too quickly. "Relaxing, just what I needed." Over the next few weeks, I became a master of deception, feigning normalcy while secretly gathering evidence. I installed a voice recorder in our bedroom, a move that felt both invasive and necessary. I checked her phone when she was in the shower, scanning her text messages and call logs. I even hired a private investigator, a discreet and professional woman named Bryn, to track her movements. The evidence mounted. Late-night meetings with Cashin, clandestine lunches, and whispered phone calls. Bryn provided me with photos of them holding hands, kissing in a parking garage. The images seared themselves into my brain, each one a fresh wound. The betrayal cut deep, a visceral pain that went beyond simple heartbreak. It was a violation of trust, a shattering of everything I believed in. I had given Isolde my heart, my soul, my life, and she had repaid me with lies and deceit. The breaking point came on our wedding anniversary. I had planned a romantic dinner at our favorite restaurant, a small French bistro where we had celebrated many special occasions. I had even bought her a diamond necklace, a symbol of our enduring love. Isolde arrived late, her excuse flimsy. "I got caught up at work," she said, her eyes darting around the room. She seemed distracted, preoccupied. During dinner, she barely touched her food. She kept checking her phone, her fingers hovering over the screen. I tried to make conversation, to reminisce about our early years together, but she was distant, unresponsive. Finally, I couldn't take it anymore. "Isolde," I said, my voice trembling. "What's going on?" She hesitated, her face pale. "Nothing," she stammered. "I'm just tired." I reached into my pocket and pulled out the photos Bryn had given me. I laid them on the table one by one, the images of Isolde and Cassion's affair laid bare for all to see. Her face crumpled, tears streamed down her cheeks. "Lysander," she whispered, "I can explain." "Explain what?" I said, my voice rising. "Explain how you could betray me like this. Explain how you could lie to my face for months." She sobbed, her body shaking. "I didn't mean for it to happen," she said. "It just happened, it just happened," I repeated, incredulous. "You had an affair with my wife. You betrayed my trust, my love, my everything." The scene escalated quickly. We argued, we yelled, we cried. The other diners stared, their conversations silenced by our drama. Finally, I stood up, my body trembling with rage and grief. "I'm done," I said, my voice hoarse. "I'm done with the lies, the deceit, the betrayal. I want a divorce." I stormed out of the restaurant, leaving Isolde sobbing at the table. I drove home in a blind fury, my mind racing with thoughts of revenge. But as the days turned into weeks, the rage began to subside, replaced by a deep, gnawing sadness. I moved out of our house into a small, sterile apartment. I cut off all contact with Isolde. I focused on my work, throwing myself into projects, seeking solace in the precision and order of architecture. Bryn, the private investigator, became an unexpected source of support. She was a strong, independent woman who had seen her share of heartbreak. She listened patiently to my rants and offered practical advice. She even helped me navigate the legal complexities of the divorce. One day, Bryn came to me with some information about Cashin. "He's not who he seems to be," she said, her voice grim. "He's been using company funds for personal expenses. He's also been involved in some shady deals with a few of our clients." I was stunned. Cashin wasn't just a cheater, he was a criminal. A plan began to form in my mind, a way to exact my revenge, not just on Isolde but on Cashin as well. I decided to expose his corruption, to bring him down. With Bryn's help, I gathered evidence of Cashin's illegal activities. I contacted Isolde's company and presented them with the information. They launched an internal investigation and Cashin was quickly fired. The scandal became public and Cashin's reputation was ruined. He lost his job, his friends, his social standing. He was a pariah. Isolde, too, suffered the consequences of her actions. Her affair with Cashin had damaged her reputation at work, and she was passed over for a promotion. She lost the respect of her friends and family. She was ostracized. I watched it all unfold with a sense of grim satisfaction. I had exacted my revenge, but as I looked at the wreckage of their lives, I realized that it hadn't brought me any real happiness. The pain was still there, a constant ache in my heart. The divorce was finalized. I was free, but I was also alone. One evening, Bryn invited me to dinner. We talked for hours, not about the case, but about ourselves. I learned about her past, her struggles, her dreams. I found myself drawn to her strength, her compassion, her dry wit. As the months passed, our friendship deepened. We started spending more time together, exploring Seattle, hiking in the mountains, cooking dinners at my apartment. One night, as we were sitting on my balcony, watching the city lights twinkle below, Bryn turned to me and said, "Lysander, I think I'm falling in love with you." I looked into her eyes and saw a reflection of my own feelings. "I think I'm falling in love with you too," I said. Our relationship blossomed quickly. We were both wounded, but we were also resilient. We had both learned valuable lessons about trust, betrayal, and forgiveness. We married a year later in a small ceremony overlooking the Puget Sound. It was a simple, intimate affair, surrounded by our closest friends and family. I had found love again, not in the way I had expected, but in a way that was deeper, more meaningful, and more real. Isolde eventually reached out to me, years later, a shadow of her former self. She apologized for her actions, expressing remorse for the pain she had caused. I listened, but I didn't offer forgiveness. Some wounds, I realized, never truly heal. I had moved on, found happiness, and built a new life. But the scars of betrayal would always remain, a reminder of the fragility of trust and the enduring power of the human heart.